Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is July 12th, 2022. In 2 days, it'll be the 6-year anniversary of the Bastille Day attack in Nice, France. If you remember that incident, Bastille Day is French Independence Day, like July 4th in the U.S. And if you don't know your history, the Bavarian Illuminati was established May 1st, 1776. Then came the American Revolution. And then not long after that came the French Revolution. But if you forgot this incident, supposedly a terrorist from Tunisia drove a big white semi through a crowd of hundreds of people, and the day of the tragedy, the death toll was moving all over the place. The day after it happened, the media had arrived at 84 were dead, and then I think like a week later they said 2 more people died, but at the immediate time of the attack, the death toll was 84. And recall what we pointed out then, that Hollywood had put out the movie Bastille Day about a terrorist attack on Bastille Day, which is the day the terrorist attack happened in Nice, France. I think in the film Bastille Day it's set in Paris, France, but again, we're in the same country, same celebration. But Hollywood had just put out the movie Bastille Day about CIA agents, stopping a terrorist attack. It came out April 22nd, 2016, which was 84 days before the attack. 84 days before the attack, where they reported that day that 84 were killed. And as we know, 84 is a very special number to the Catholic Church and the Jesuits who serve the Catholic Church. And of course, the Jesuits were created in Paris, France, by Ignatius of Loyola, who ended up dying in history 84 days before his birthday. And again, over here in the U.S., we've had diplomatic relations with the Vatican since 1984. Of course, that's George Orwell's infamous year in his book 1984. Orwell was a member of the Fabian Society, which is related to the Jesuits, that was created in 1884. Now, we just had a big 84 ritual just on July 8th. That was the supposed assassination of Shinzo Abe, the former prime minister of Japan. From the video footage we've seen, it doesn't look too convincing that there really was an assassination, but again, he spells Abe, A-B-E, just like how Honest Abe, Abraham Lincoln, spelled Abe, and Abe Lincoln's assassination was a huge 84 ritual. And from the anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's death to the supposed assassination of Shinzo Abe was 84 days later. And of course, and with regards to Shinzo Abe being in Japan, don't forget, we just had the death of the superior general of the Jesuits, Adolfo Nicolas, at age 84, by the numbers. That was May 20th, 2020. But again, in Gematria, Jesuit equals 84. Jesuit 84. The American Revolution and the French Revolution right after the establishment of the Illuminati by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And don't forget that in Gematria, United States of America equals 84, Superior General equals 84, the leader of the Jesuits, the Catholic Church equals 84. Big number with this gang. So again, Bastille Day movie comes out. It's about CIA agents stopping a terrorist attack on Bastille Day. Remember, the CIA was established by the numbers synced up with the Catholic Pope on September 18th, 47. 84 is a huge number with the Jesuits. If you write out the Jesuit Order, it equals 201, and when you use numerology, it equals 84. The CIA was established on the 201st day of the Pope's age. And, of course, Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, his name equals 201. Again, the man who would end up dying 84 days before his birthday. Pope Francis, the first Jesuit pope, the first to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican. His birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, equals 201. His birth numerology is 84. And again, the last French pope, the 201st. So these numbers are so important to Jesuit rituals throughout history. Recently, we saw the death of Colin Powell at age 84 on the anniversary of Event 201, supposedly from coronavirus, when he died supposedly from COVID-19. And just some other things that are interesting about this. So again, 84 dead. Now, we're going to have Tara back on because she said she was here when this happened. And she said that people were definitely murdered and killed, and she felt lucky at the time because they were nearly in the same crowd that got ran over. And she's 100% convinced that people really died, and she was there, so I would take her opinion over mine, but I just remember what we were showing through the media. It looked completely bogus, because you had a big white truck that supposedly ran through a crowd of hundreds of people, and there wasn't one drop of blood. There wasn't anything on the white truck that showed that it had ran over people. They did show that it had bullet holes in the front window, but the front of the truck was perfectly clean. And again, I mean, in a lot of these things where they report these mass tragedies, they don't show you any real evidence. And as I recall, this is 6 years ago, but I do remember like CNN showing a shot of the street, and it looked like there were literally dummies, like crash test dummies that they'd set out in the street. That's the way it looked on TV. A pristinely clean vehicle and plastic dummies out on the street. And with regards to going with 84 and, mostly only dummies watching and believing what's on the news, it is funny that dummies also equals 84. But here's the other thing I want to point out about this. When this happened, I did not know reverse gematria. I only knew the alphabetic order and the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. So I knew that Jesuit was 84. But notice how when you run it in reverse, Jesuit is 78. Now remember, the Shinzo Abe assassination was supposedly July 8th, 7/8, 84 days after the Lincoln assassination death anniversary. And if you write out Nice, France, notice how it's also 78. And the day it happened, July 14th, 2016, it was a date with 57 numerology. I didn't see how Nice, France equaled 57 in Gematria back then because I didn't know to run the alphabetic order in reverse. So the date was perfect for the location. The 78 Jesuit encoding was there to go with the 84 dead, 84 days after the release of Bastille Day. And, again, just about being about the CIA, which is a total Jesuit operation. As for them saying that the driver at the time was 31, we did see that because Nice and the most simple cipher is 31. What I documented back then but didn't know is that the Superior General, that attack happened 76 days after the Superior General's birthday, or his 77th day of his age. Think about how the Illuminati was established in 1776 by the Jesuit, but his 77th day of his age, and the attack was in Nice, which equals 77 when you run it in reverse. And again, if you guys ever want to find out the value of reverse gematria, just go back to my old posts like these ones. I found out reverse gematria at the end of 2016, so I was about 5 months away from discovering reverse gematria when I was doing these posts. But again, if you go back to any of my old work and you just go back and look at what I decoded back then and then take the reverse ciphers, you'll find several more things that perfectly tie in with the ritual. And again, that's how we realized in 2016 that reverse was the other half of the code, because I did start going and looking back over older work, and I said, wow, look at how all of this lines up. But, Francis Holland, who was the leader at the time, his name was also 84. That was another 84 in the ritual. Oh, the reason his name didn't come up as 84 in the base ciphers is because it's when you use the rule with S. Remember, in the base ciphers, the reduction ciphers, the 19th letter, there's a rule with the 19th letter. 19 can be 10 or 1. So if you use the rule with S, his name does become 84 to go with the 84 dead that they're reporting that day. Also, the French Republican calendar, their own calendar for the nation, it began on September 23rd, 2015. The attack for the movie Bastille Day that released 213 days after that year began, and French Republican calendar equals 213, and that's something that came out of the French Revolution. And again, Bastille Day, French Revolution. And it was the 224th year of the French Republican calendar. The phrase terrorist strike is 224, and going with the 84 thing, the divisors at 84 sum to 224. The Society of Jesus, when you write it out like that, also equals 224. In Jewish gematria, which was the other cipher we knew back then, Made in France, that was a film that was put out that offered other predictive programming related to the Charlie Hebdo attacks and the Friday the 13th, November 13th, 2015 attacks. But Made in France was another film with foreshadowing, which also had the 2, 2, and 4 encoding. And Made in France also fit in with Tunisia. You had some terrorist incidents in Tunisia around that time. Plus, they said that in this case, the attackers were Tunisian. And this was after the Friday the 13th attack. Again, that was November 13th, 2015. One of the character names from that Bastille Day attack series was Michael Mason. Again, the Jesuits and the Masons. And they had Idris Elba in that film as well. And here, just go back over some of the other notes from that attack. When it first happened, they started with a death toll of 73 and said 42 people were in critical condition. And then it kept ticking up. I guess at first it was actually up to 60 dead in the crowd. I remember they had 73 for a while because the word truck was 73. Okay, so the numbers kept fluctuating, but then they were pretty firm with that 84 until like a week later when they said more people in the hospital died. But they had 73 at one point. Of course, Sacrifice is 73, Mason is 73, Truck is 73, a truck blamed. And let's see, what else was there to it? Talking about it happening. Adam Weishaupt, the Illuminati, the Jesuits from France. Let's see. Bastille does have that gematria of 80, like Bavarian Illuminati, like tragedy, like French National Day, which it's also referred to as. And let me see. Okay, so from the Charlie Hebdo shootings, and again, I mean, the Charlie Hebdo shootings were a total hoax. Like, you can't make any argument that they were anything other than a total hoax. If you were here at the time, if you saw the footage that used to be on YouTube, total hoax. Nobody died. It was totally made for TV. It was totally fake. And they showed it to you right in front of your face that it was all fake. But it was a big national story, the cartoons making fun of the Prophet Muhammad. And then, again, just there was an ongoing series of events in France after the Charlie Hebdo attacks. It went through Friday, November 13th, up to the Bastille Day thing. All of these things were connected. From the Charlie Hebdo shooting to the Bastille Day attack was 555 days later. And again, the American Revolution, the French Revolution. In D.C., you have the 555-foot tall Washington Monument. You have the Pentagon that's 5-sided with 5 floors above ground with a 5-acre court in the middle. I still theorize on what exactly 555 means to these people. The word new, as a New World Order, N is the 14th letter. The numerology of 14 is 5. E is the 5th letter. W is the 23rd letter. 2 plus 3 is 5. So all those letters break down to 5 in the word new. 5 plus 5 plus 5. New World Order. Jesuit World Order. Notice it was also 79 weeks. Murder in Society of Jesus, 79. And then from Charlie Hebdo to the Friday the 13th attacks, that was 311 days. 201 is 311 in base 8 counting, going with that Jesuit Order theme. And, of course, Charlie Hebdo has Gematria 63, like Paris, like terrorism. I always forget, is it terrorist or terrorism? It's terrorism. Terrorism 63, Paris 63, Charlie Hebdo 63. And I got Charlie Hebdo 63 forwards and backwards. And there was a bunch of other stuff. All the encoding on Friday, the November 13th attacks, they figured out how to code 63 into that, like in 1,000 different ways, which we covered back then. But all of this stuff perfectly synced up, ongoing rituals, and from Friday, November 13th to the Brussels attack at the airport on March 22nd, 2016, That was 130 days after they reported that 130 people were killed in the November 13th attacks. 13013. Think about Washington, D.C. Washington, of course, is 130. Again, D.C., big Jesuit Masonic stronghold like Paris, France. And from the March 22nd attack, 322, to the Bastille Day attack was 3 months and 22 days later. Again, 322 is the number of skull and bones, which is modeled after the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar were burned at the stake in Paris, France, and then years later you get the Jesuits, who become the new military order of the Catholic Church, created in Paris, France. So, if you counted the span of days, instead of 114 days, it would be a span of 115, and I wouldn't have caught this back then, but again, just France in reverse is 115. Masonics also 115 in that cipher. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry came to power in France. So... But yeah, all this stuff has been, predictive programming, rituals by the numbers, all the same stuff over the years. And, the question is, the only question I really have about the Bastille Day thing is it like Tara said, were people really murdered there? Did they really drive a truck through a group of people and kill a bunch of people? At the time, through the TV coverage, it didn't look like it. But we'll have to get her back on to talk about it, because she says it was there and it did happen, so... I would like to know more about that. And again, just they always fluctuate the numbers, but eventually they sat at that 84. And then, by the way, for it eventually ticking up to 86, remember, that's another big number. Jesuits, we talked about how Jesuit forward is 84. Jesuits, the plural, is 86. The last French pope was the 201st, who died on the 86th day of the year. Pope Francis, who's the first Jesuit pope, the first to live in Suite 201, he became pope 86 days after his birthday. And 86 also has to do with, death. Blood sacrifice is 86. So is human sacrifice. 86th to get rid of. So... Again, they went through all these numbers. I was documenting all this the day of. And yeah, again, it's always been the same thing, though. Jesuits, Masons, Illuminati. And if you don't know the history of the Illuminati, again, founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, who wanted to infiltrate all things, government, education, Masonic lodges. And it looks like the mission was definitely achieved, so... In 2 days, it'll be the anniversary. We'll see if they have another special for Bastille Day this year. But yeah, we will have to get Tara back on, because I would like to hear her talk about that and what it looked like on the ground, because it's just like the Vegas thing. If you remember the Vegas shooting, the Route 91 Harvest Festival shooting on the day, leaving 91 days left in the year. Jeff Young was in Vegas at the time and was telling me that people definitely died and were killed. And then we were watching the TV coverage, and then you had like the snickering witnesses, laughing witnesses, goofy witnesses, contrived scenes, So, and it's like, what is going on? There's people who are there who are saying people are definitely dead, but then on TV you got the laughing, snickering witnesses. It's just like Buffalo. I just went to Buffalo and talked to people on the ground there. People there in the community said people definitely died. But again, after Buffalo, you saw the same type of snickering, laughing witnesses on TV. So it's so weird what's going on with these psychological operations. You can see that they're just that. They're by the code. We know who's executing them. But what else is going on? Why are they always bringing in these witnesses that don't seem serious, who are laughing about death, who are smiling and grinning? Why is it that the cameras are showing things that don't make any sense? Go back and see if I have the old footage that I had back then, where it looked like there was definitely dummies that they'd laid out in the street after Bastille Day. But again, rather than getting caught up in the whole fact of if they're totally faking these things or not, the point is, whether they're faking it or not, the point is these things are being executed by our governments, by our media, for the sake of agenda. And it's like a series of dominoes where one thing leads to the next. And whether they're faking it or not, it ends up having real consequences for us. All of these things have been used to start wars, build the surveillance state, take away rights and liberties. That's what ultimately matters. So, Again, if you want to go to law school, if you ever want to make it into law school, you get tested on if you can understand the point of something. If you get caught up in the details, it means you don't understand the point. You can't get to what's critical about the matter being discussed. And that's a huge problem for so many people in the truth community. So many people in the truth community think the definitive thing that needs to be debated on all these issues is if it was a total hoax or not, and that's all that matters. It's like, that's not actually even really the part that matters that much. It is sicker if they're really killing people. But what ultimately matters the most is what is being done out of all of these rituals, how the rights and liberties are stripped, again, how the surveillance state is built, how the next war is instigated. And again, I mean, learn Gematria. Learn Gematria. But by the way, Tara, if you end up watching this, I got to be honest, man. Like, I hope your friend Adam gets better, but Adam represents what's wrong with the country. A grown man who's caught up in politics, who doesn't care about evidence. He just cares more about his beliefs and which political party he likes. And he's on his channel, like, celebrating Elon Musk, a Jesuit puppet loser. And just celebrating losers, from Donald Trump to Elon Musk. All of these guys are puppets on strings. You can prove it all day. The reason I just wrote this up there is because, again, also on 7/8, Jesuit 78, Tesla 78, Elon Musk, the richest man in the world on the 78-year anniversary of the death of Tesla. But again, we just saw that Jesuit puppet's latest ritual. He supposedly makes his offer for Twitter. The purchase process begins on the 115th day of the year, and then 74 days later, he wants out of the purchase agreement. Again, if you're out there, Adam Francisco, you got to stop celebrating these people. You know, Elon Musk walking around with his jacket that says Novus Ordo Seclorum on it with the Illuminati symbolism. All of these people are puppets. Elon Musk doesn't give two shits about you. Donald Trump doesn't give two shits about you. These people are puppets that are part of the show, and the Jesuits control all sides of the show. You know, they want to give you that little glimmer of hope that Elon Musk is going to come in and break up big Jesuit tech censorship and make Twitter a different platform. See, that was just a little glimmer of false hope and a little ritual. And again, you know, don't forget that he made an offer at $54 per share on 14/4, the anniversary of Lincoln shooting, as the news media reported to you that day about the Russian warships that sunk on the anniversary of the Titanic sinking. But anyway, again, from Bastille Day to Elon Musk to Donald Trump to Joe Biden, another Jesuit puppet who's got the same numbers in his name. Again, you learn the code, you see through the rituals, you see who's pulling the strings, who's leading us astray, and yeah, it's too bad people want to be caught up in it, you know. So, Adam Francisco, if you're out there, I mean, honestly, man, it's just embarrassing watching at a gas station handing out Fox News stickers that said Biden did that. Biden didn't do anything. Trump didn't do anything. These are Jesuit puppet figureheads that have no influence and no control over anything that happens in the nation. They are figureheads. They go up there and represent their part of the story, you know? I can't believe people can't see through the two-party system and what a joke it is in the 4-year terms. Why should there be term limits? Like, why have any of this stuff? It's just they've created a system where people can come through, be the bad guy for 2 to 4 years, and then get moved out of office, and then blame it on the next guy, and just keep going back and forth on the teeter-totter of politics. Again, like I said, at the beginning of the 2000s, the Republicans had control. They started the wars. The Democrats ran on ending the wars, and then they came in and made the war even worse. The Republicans were in control when the war on germs began. The Democrats ran on ending the war on germs, making everyone healthy. Then they came in and made it even worse. It's the same stuff all throughout history, and it's pathetic that people fall for it. So. Also, since Tara is down at the border right now documenting the flood of immigrants into the country, understand that's part of the agenda. You got a Catholic president flooding in Catholic immigrants. I mean, that's just, it's so transparent, it's so obvious. And it's all just meant to outrage people. Fox News sits there all day broadcasting, oh, the border's just wide open. And who ultimately wants the border to be wide open? The same corporations that run the nations. You know, they want cheap labor. And if you guys never saw what they did after Katrina, Go back and look into it. After Katrina, we funneled in all kinds of Mexicans to clean up the area, to repair things, and then they all got taken right back out of the country, and they didn't get paid anything. It was just like free, desperate labor. They promised these people that they were going to do something for them, and they just came in and used them and abused them. And again, I mean, people look at that border and think they have some sovereign nation. They don't. This thing's been the New World Order the whole time. And it's not hard to understand why they want more Catholics in the country. Catholics are very submissive. Catholics are very trusting in authority. And that's the kind of people they want. Submissive, trusting in authority people. People that believe what they see on TV, believe what they hear from the talking heads on the news. Anyway, all of these things are psychological operations. They're not worth getting emotionally invested in. And the only true purpose we have as people who are awake is to end the evil. Like, that's the thing. Federal government needs to go. Get rid of your federal government. Needs to go. It's totally evil. It's totally corrupt. There's not a single thing positive about the federal government. Anything that you think is positive about it, you're wrong about. You're under some kind of mind control. It's nothing but evil exploitation. You know, it's a war starter and it's a taxer. That's it. And it's the same thing worldwide. All these people submitting to government. You know, government's convinced everybody in their mind that if you don't have government, it'll be total chaos. People will be out there killing each other. Meanwhile, the biggest killer in the world is government. Governments kill people. Governments are here to kill people. Wars, you know, capital punishment. And isn't that the thing they want right now? They want an authority. They want only authorities to be able to carry weapons. Police, military, I mean. And it's all being manufactured, one story after the next. Stories just like this. So anyway, I'm babbling on about other things, but yeah, I really wish people would get out of the politics and all the trash that they give us to get caught up in. So yeah, I know that Tara right now is into the political thing, but you know, she's trying to find her path, and you know, but yeah, politics isn't ever going to be the path. Politics will always be the division and destruction of society. So that's all it's ever been. That's all it ever will be. You guys want to know about the update on Marion Barber's heat stroke? Now, remember, Marion Barber died at age 38 in Frisco. Marion equals 38, Frisco equals 38, finals equals 38. That death was announced right before the NBA finals started, which we told you San Francisco would clearly win, and they did. And here, I'll pull up the Marion Barber thing real quick since you guys have been talking about that since I started the stream. And then we'll look at the heat stroke update. So Marion Barber dead at 38, and I remember this was perfectly synced with the Super Bowl that Los Angeles won. Okay, so just like we talked about, dead at 38, where that all fit in, Marion Frisco finals, and okay, he was the 109th pick in the draft. Marion Barber III equals 109, and from the day of the Super Bowl, February 13th, to the day he died was 109 days. And Los Angeles also equals 109. And again, you know, you think about the rigged NFL, Stafford's ritual synced up with Georgia, synced up with Ukraine. And then him and Cooper Kupp always posing with the 10 and the 9. Little white boy Cooper Kupp always wide open in the rigged NFL. But that was also the day leaving 213 days left in the year. And again, LA's the 213 area code, and it was on 213. And Des Bryant said that Marion Barber was down and out bad. That was the quote for another 213. Shows you what kind of guy Des Bryant really is. Just a guy that'll go out and regurgitate the lines and make it seem like he was suicidal. So, before long, we'll probably be reading about Des Bryant's premature death. Maybe he'll fall down in the shower like, I can't think of the receiver's name right now. Old Tom Brady teammate who also played for the Broncos. One of the other premature NFL deaths we covered recently. I cannot think of his name right now. But all right, here, let's see the update on Marion Barber heat stroke. Okay, so they reported this yesterday. They brought out the latest detail on July 11th. July 11th. So that would have been, well, that would have been 40 days later, or a span of 41 days. And I suppose that fits in because he was synced up with Golden State. Golden State's 41. Again, the Warriors won the finals. And, of course, LA's also 41, who won the Super Bowl. And so is Dallas. He played for Dallas. So a span of 41 days from the death. 41. And what's heat stroke? Heat stroke's 41. Well, there you go. You guys couldn't figure that out yourself? I don't know why you guys need me to figure out these things. I mean, they're really so simple, you guys. You just measure the days and you just decode the words. Whenever people say like, excuse me, people say like, I can't figure out how to decode, I'm just like, I don't know how you can't figure out how to decode. This shit is so easy. I guarantee if I could teach a second grade classroom gematria, I would have, in the first week, 75% of that class would be decoding just fine. The slower ones, they might take a little bit, but by the time we're done teaching the topic, everyone can decode in the second grade classroom. So, okay, here. Just put it on the screen for people who can't do math. June 1st, 2022 to the day this broke, July 11th. That is a span of 41 days. And in the most pure cipher, heat stroke is 41. Just like, and notice how it is with Golden State. It's the same in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. Golden State, 122, 41, 58. Dallas, 41. LA, 41. So, and don't forget, Dallas was established in 1841. But yeah, every day, news by the numbers. Every last headline. In all the years I've done this, every headline I've ever looked at, I've been able to figure out in 5 minutes or less, Because every last news story that they put in the mainstream is gematria encoded. Every single one. And it's a reminder who runs the show. The Cabal, which comes from Kabbalah, where the whole code of letters and numbers comes from. But yeah, you guys really shouldn't need me to decode any news headlines because it's all just that simple. It's all just that simple. Would have been, literally to measure from the day he died till the day that story broke and then type in heat stroke, that's all you would have had to do. All right, shout out to DMS. I do appreciate the super chat. Thank you. And Let me check that. Somebody's got something in the chat that I don't think I really dawned on me before. Yeah, you're right. Dallas, Texas does equal 179, which is the 41st prime number. Good one. I must have noticed that at some point, but I don't. I got to start making that point every time I make the point about Dallas, because Dallas is established in 1841, and it's got a double connection to 41. Dallas, Texas, 179, the 41st prime. AT&T's headquartered in Dallas. And after Matt Stafford won the Super Bowl this year by the numbers, Super Bowl equals 41 as well, which is the 13th prime number. Again, Stafford went to high school in Dallas at that exclusive Highland Park. But right after he won the Super Bowl, then he started doing the AT&T commercial that you've probably seen on TV. So we know AT&T has a lot to do with a long history of terrorism and tragedy from 1968 forward. So anyway. By the way, I've been getting a comment a lot. A lot of you guys have been leaving the comment to do the new Jim Brewer podcast. If you guys want to, buzz him up and down to have me on his show, you can try. I have a feeling that it's not going to happen, because I've seen who he has on as his guests so far, and, his guests so far have been the people in the network, Again, you guys, there's a club, and I'm not in it, but, and then I think there's a bigger club, and then there's a club outside of that. I'm not in any of the clubs, but I've seen who Jim Brewer's had on, like, he brings on Anomaly and praises Anomaly, and it's just like, Anomaly, And his praise for him was completely false. He's like, this guy's not about politics. It's like, he's completely about politics. He said he's a legend for getting people on the right side of politics. But I do know that Jim Brewer has a new podcast, and a lot of you guys think I should go on there, but you guys can try to get me on, but I doubt it's going to happen. He's having on all the people that already get the traffic, that already get the attention, that go around from show to show. Again, there's a club of people who promote each other, but they don't promote this work, this content. And again, that club, that there are people that keep people in the same mental traps. So, yeah, I saw like he had on Owen Benjamin. I watched, somebody linked his Owen Benjamin interview and said, you got to watch this. And I only watched like the opening minutes because he said at the beginning, he said, people. Okay, testing. We had a power outage. If you guys can hear me in the chat, can you guys let me know if I'm back? We had a power outage here, and it was one of those quick power outages, so we're back, but I don't know if I'm reconnected or not. I just got a text message from Angel Baby who says, been buffering for 5 minutes. Yeah, that's because the power went out. Chase199 says, thoughts on Texas blackout programming. Well, if you weren't here, I mean, we called the Valentine's Day blackout before it happened from understanding what's going on. There's blackout predictive programming for all over the place, not just Texas. Okay, well, when I got cut off, I was saying how a lot of you guys have been telling me that I need to get on Jim Brewer's show. Again, I'd be happy to do that. I'm happy to get out the word wherever, but I just have a feeling based on who he's had on so far that I won't be on there. I always see the same group of people getting promoted on everyone's channel, and we're not in that group. You know, no one wants to share this work. But, you know, it's just, and honestly, I mean, Jim Brewer seems like a nice guy and all, but I was watching the beginning of his Owen Benjamin stream, and he brings on Owen Benjamin and says, a lot of people say Owen Benjamin's some kind of racist. He goes, I watch him, I haven't heard anything racist. It's like, okay, what are we playing, peekaboo here? What, because you haven't seen it? Owen Benjamin's as racist as you can get. He loves to sing the N-word. He loves to just say the N-word as much as he can. It's just, I mean, the guy, and not to mention he made a video saying Gematria is bullshit. And again, I mean, if we can get on Jim Brewer, sure, but I'm just, based on being here for all the time I have and how few people have reached out and tried to share this work with their audience, again, all I see are a bunch of controlled operatives leading people nowhere, and I'll just put it this way. I doubt it. Jim Brewer comes from Hollywood, just like Owen Benjamin. Seemingly Anomaly, who we had on, is not too far away, but yeah, again, it's that thing. There's a club in the Gematria community. It's not in it. With that said, there are some Gematria channels creeping up that are growing really fast. You know, a lot of you guys have been telling me to check out this Donut channel. I saw Donut had on one of the growing Gematria channels, and it seemed like they were just ripping off everything that I presented, but didn't say my name or my channel a single time. And it's not about that, but again, I just look at this faceless Gematria channel that's growing so much faster than all the other people who've been here for years doing the work and seemingly came out of nowhere. And again, this Gematria channel I'm talking about hangs out with Logan, another fast-growing Gematria channel that makes the work look like bullshit and tells everybody that everything's just organic, that no one's mocking us. So I'm starting to think that Gematria, that there's a lot of agents coming into the community who are kind of trying to hijack the work, and they're getting more recognition right now, and that's also a little bit concerning. But I do got to say about that broadcast, though, with Donut, at least they were talking about the Jesuits and 201, but yeah, I you know, they those of us who really do the work, we're not invited onto any big platforms, you know. So, if you want to try for Jim Brewer, you can, but I'll keep my expectations reserved because, again, you know, again, just from nearly a decade of experience, almost no one wants to share this work. So, Yeah. And a lot of you guys need to pull your head out of your ass too, because you guys, I mean, like, things are obvious that you guys can't see. So I saw some comments from people in this channel, in the channel, the video I'm talking about from just the other day, where they're stealing my work, not giving any credit. And then I see people on this channel saying, "Oh, I love you guys so much. I love this interview." It's just like, don't you see what these people are, man? These are the people that are here to hijack the movement. And, you know, one of them might be in the chat right now, writing with exclamation points. They might have even came out to Oklahoma City, but you got to wake up. You got to wake up. You got to improve your instincts. Again, if somebody's on a platform stealing all of my work, reporting it as theirs, and not giving any credit, and they're the fastest growing Gematria channel, and they're a faceless wonder, who did say in their stream, I actually listened to that stream more than I've ever listened to any of their work, and I learned something. I said, oh, look at that, they're Jewish too, no wonder. So they said in the stream they're Jewish. You don't know who they are because they're faceless, but they're taking my content and giving no credit. So again, some of you guys, you need a cold bucket of water dumped over your head. And, well, and again, if that's the case, that people don't want to have me on because they're worried I'm going to steal their audience because my work's superior to theirs, I mean, that's cowardice, right? I guess that's why we're a society of people who are losing, because so many of us have loser attitudes. You know, we can't admit we're wrong. You know, we're worried that somebody's better than us. And I don't think that's the way it works anyway. I'm pretty sure that if anybody... I mean, that's the thing, too. See, that's what's annoying, too, because I've been deleted so many times and I don't have the huge subscriber count that I've had in the past. That's the other thing that makes it easy to ignore. They're like, oh, well, he's got a small channel. Nobody's really into that. That's not that important. He'd have a bigger channel. You know, for new people who come across who haven't figured it out yet, they might look at it and think it that way, not realizing what the history is. So... yeah. And then a lot of times you guys are asking me to do videos with other channels that are smaller, which is fine. I've done a lot of that in the past, but those aren't the channels that are going to help us grow. We need channels that have a big platform, and those ones don't want to help out. So... yeah, biters for real. So, but yeah, I mean, I just recognize that there's something going on with certain Gematria channels growing really rapid. Like, one guy just did the most embarrassing decode of the NBA Finals in the history of decodes. And since he did that and was wrong about it, his channel's grown very rapidly by 10,000 more subscribers. And I'm just like, how is this possible? His channel's grown by 10,000 subs since that embarrassment of a decode, and there's people who've been in this community doing good work for a lot of years who still don't even have 10,000 subscribers. So, and literally it was the worst decode in the history of decodes, impossibly wrong, impossibly bad, and, you know, it just, yeah, so I'm looking at the fast growth and the terrible decoding, and I'm saying, how's this even possible? And that goes with Logan, too. Logan's decoding is like the worst thing that's ever happened to Gematria. How's that channel growing? Who's watching that? You know? I mean, it's just... I hate these big tech platforms and the censorship and the way they manipulate numbers and the way they make certain people look like, you know, their content's important and people want to watch that while they suppress other people. It's just a joke. Well, the thing about, like, nobody has a patent on the information, but if you're going to plagiarize what somebody says and, like, say word for word and teach it the exact same way and then never give any of that credit, that just makes you a straight up biter, you know? So, and in a way, it's like, well, at least the work's getting out there, but I just, again, you don't want certain people who are putting out the work to become the most popular in the community when they don't have the intent of actually getting to the bottom of what's going on. And then the other purpose of their channel is to get you to invest in crypto, which is completely controlled by the cabal. So, And exactly. Notice who gets trolls and who doesn't. Right. A lot of these channels, you don't see any trolls. You don't see any trolls, even though they got big platforms. There's nobody there that wants to harass them. So, yeah. Anyway, we'll leave it there. I got work to do. But, yeah, for all of you guys leaving the comments about get on Jim Brewer, well, when he's live streaming, I guess get in there and say, hey, you need to talk to Gematria Effect News. And something tells me that Jim Brewer. Hey, the one thing I did laugh that I caught about his thing, though, is he's broadcasting from the closet. He said his wife makes him do it in the closet. And you guys might recall my broadcasting days from the closet, because before I soundproof this room, that's where I used to broadcast. Otherwise, sweet lady, she'd get distracted. But anyway. All right. Yeah, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you to all the mods. Thank you to the people who share the work. And thank you to the people who made the generous donations. Appreciate it. Oh, Knowledge for Ignorance. He needs a wrench on this channel. If you guys don't follow Knowledge for Ignorance, he's in the chat right now. He makes truth-inspired music. Be sure to check out his channel. He's always busy. So... Yeah. That's fine, Denise. Do what you want to do, but again, it's pretty obvious what somebody's really about when they just rip off somebody else's work and give no credit, and they hang out with the biggest shill in the Gematria community. And again, to me, those aren't people that anyone should be supporting that are awake. But you do what you want to do. So. Well, the frustrating thing for me is these people, the operatives that are clearly coming into the community, they're now getting more traction. And again, that's the problem with being on this platform. YouTube can promote things and make things popular while drowning out other things. And if that's what's going to end up happening to the legacy of Gematria, is that the operatives come in and take the work and make it look stupid. I guess that would be par for the course for how these people operate. So. Anyway, we'll leave it there for now. And until next time, True Seeker.